Hello, everyone, and I'm your host Shashi on Women Dialogues with all of you again to create more voice for women by women. And today's our guest joining us from Netherlands, Stephanie. Stephanie is an international consultant in cultural transformations and innovation strategies. So, welcome, Stephanie, on Women Dialogues.
Thank you, Shashi. Really happy to be here and share a story with you and your audience.
Thank you. It's a great pleasure, and I'm hoping to have a great experience to be with you today by sharing and by listening your wonderful stories and your life journey and all about. So, take us to your life, early life and stories, those challenges and success who shaped you the person you are today.
Mm. It's good that you asked this question, and have had time to think about it before, because I am writing a book right now. So it took me back to all these early stories. So, try to digest them so that, I can share them in a useful way, I guess, for others. Up until, let's say, I was 10, 11, it feels like it was my true self, like very expressive, joyful, love to learn. So probably the closest I've ever been to my true self, the kid that hasn't yet learned how to shape themselves, how to wear masks to fit with society. And then I guess between puberty, society, teenager, all of these things that starts to resist or create some new challenges, especially identity challenges where you have to fit in, and find your place, I guess, in the world. And I think that's when I started actually shutting down and hiding who I was. And I'm sure other people will recognize that phase where you feel like your true self is not understood or loved or appreciated, or is labeled as weird or not fitting in. I mean, you can have all of these things, that happens at that age. Let's say the silver lining in that phase, which is not always what we think of, but the silver lining is that it pushed me to observe a lot more. So because I was hiding and not showing myself so much, I was actually really looking at trying to understand others. I think at some point I even thought I was an alien or something, because it felt like, okay, my nature or how I am doesn't fit in with where I am. But let's try to find out what this world is all about. So it really felt like that. So yeah, the advantage was I really observed how people behaved, what they said, what they felt, or what they told me they felt, what was going on in terms of dynamics between people. And I've always been curious, what is the human brain like and why do people behave in that way? And I think that shaped who I became in terms of coaching and helping people and having a lot of empathy. But in a way, you can see that trying to understand others is also about trying to understand myself. And seeing, who am I in this world, and what's important to me, and and how can I make it work for myself. So yeah, that's the early life was more about being sensitive and observant and curious, and that really helped me be as a person who I am today and develop the qualities I need to support people.
Yeah, I think that's wonderful, and a very amazing the way you expressed your life journey, the story you bring on this platform, like how you were at some point of time in your life, moreover, like as an observant and observing the what is going on around. Uh, Definitely initial your curiosity was to fit in and to adapt some kind of mask, but uh,
Exactly.
while keep observing and finding your own niche and to become the way today you are is I think exceptional and very superb journey, because very often uh, the way you were saying, like to fit in, to have that mask, we really get into and we forget and we lost our own identity. We
Exactly.
lost our own meaning of our own life. So I really love the way you explained, like from initial definition of fit in, having a mask, but uh, overcome those fit in and mask challenge rather than finding your own truth to yourself, having empathy, having those all meaningful
Yeah.
learning for your life and for your career. That's really
Mm.
beautiful way to explain. I really congratulate you first of all before moving ahead, because it's really so meaningful, and I believe we all need that. We all need that.
Mm.
Um, yeah. So as you was talking about that, you do a lot of work for mentoring. You regularly mentoring women to help and make them feel empowered, and even you did your PhD, and I think as if I remember, it is like first in Europe on mentoring entrepreneurs. So
Yeah.
tell us about your experiences and why you decided to work on them, or particular on this topic, and what was all your research outcome, and how it is all. It's making me excited to hear like how you reach on this to work on as a Europe first PhD about mentoring entrepreneurs.
Yeah. Um, well, it started first as coaching because I was a coach before I went into mentoring, and I did my PhD quite later on in life. I was early 30s when I did my PhD, so I had a life before, which was more about coaching and helping small businesses and also executives develop themselves. And that was in the UK. And then I came back to France, and in France, having a doctorates and diplomas is quite an important thing in terms of status.
Hmm.
And when I started the business with my husband, I did probably, like many women, feel
Hmm.
I needed more legitimacy on my field. One, because I was in early 30s, and that's a time where you start getting some expertise, but you're not quite old enough so people, see it.
Hmm.
And even though I started having gray hair very early, people still saw me as a young face. I'm now mid 40s, and they still think I'm younger. So I had this problem of being legitimate. So I have to say, maybe a part of doing the PhD was a little bit about reassuring myself and also reassuring others that I knew my stuff, that I was experienced, I had the piece of paper to prove it, I've done the research. So yeah,
Ah,
there's a part of that, and it's okay. I think, if you're doing it just for that, then that's a problem. But if you're doing it and realize that, yes, it does it make you feel a bit more self-assured, then, do it. But also, I think it was a time in my life where I felt not bored, but I needed a new challenge. And the PhD was an intellectual challenge. So, okay, can I go deeper on that subject? And I was already quite passionate about mentoring.
yeah,
I was a coach, but I wasn't a mentor yet. I started to work with some people who were doing some mentoring programs. So I started to look at mentoring as a very value-based practice. People offering their time, people offering their knowledge, experience, sharing stories to help others.
yeah,
And I thought, wow, that's such a beautiful way to interact in business. As usually in business, it's about money, it's about what's in it for me, and it's a transaction. And
yeah,
people partner together, but you give me this, I give you that. We have a contract.
right.
It's very based on a transaction. And when I learned about mentoring,
Mm-hmm.
I learned about mentoring within corporations, and I thought, wow, that's beautiful that, you
Mm.
know, people in the same company will help each other, but it's not related to some kind of objective. You know, it's not, I need to help you because politically it makes sense. It was really altruistic, and I thought that's nice. And then I discovered mentoring for entrepreneurs,
Mm-hmm.
and I thought, wow, so people have their own business, they're entrepreneurs, they're already busy, worried, you know, and carry a lot of responsibilities. And on top of that, they're still willing to offer their time and
Yeah.
wisdom to help another business. And
Yeah.
that's not going to benefit them. So they're really doing it out of very altruistic values. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, wow, this is really beautiful. And maybe I can learn how to help organizations, or usually it's networks of entrepreneurs, you know, who do that kind of thing. Maybe I can help them set it up so that it really works and we can deploy, or it can, you know, spread. It's a practice that could spread more.
Yeah.
So I was working at the time for a company doing mentoring for corporates. So I had all the understanding of what mentoring is. And at the
Mm-hmm.
same time, then I started working with my husband and switching to our own business, consulting business. And at the same time, doing the PhD. You know, it took me 3 years. I managed to manage my time. Many people often ask me, how did I manage to work and do the PhD at the same time, do it in 3 years and all that? But I mean, we can organize, you know, you need to understand how you work, but you know, you can do it. And the subject was so easy for me to work on because I loved mentoring. I already, because of my business, I already had contacts in many entrepreneurial networks. So I could, you know, easily do the case study for the research on them.
Right.
And so, yeah, I just wrote the research, and was really, it was challenging. And it's it is hard work,
Yeah.
but really intellectually, really interesting. And at the end of it, managed to really use the PhD research for my work now. I mean, I still have the benefits of all that research work in what I do today. Because
Yeah.
in what I do today, I do set up mentoring programs in different forms, and everything that I've learned through research and through experience that has been accumulated now is really helping me. So yeah, I'm really happy to have done that. And when I say it's the first PhD thesis on that specific subject in Europe. The only place where they were studying mentoring for entrepreneurs was in Quebec in Canada.
Mm-hmm.
And I have written some papers with the researchers over there. But yeah, so yeah, I'm quite proud of it actually.
Yeah, first of all, congratulations that you accomplished that such a remarkable journey, and you completed accomplished your doctorate degree. And I agree. I totally agree. The hard work and all managing your research is not easy. It is definitely it's time consuming task. I know myself because I have gone through similar journey while having a small child, then
Mm,
pursuing my own PhD and all. It was not easy task, but once it's all like as you said, it is all about your time management and dedication. So you take things accordingly. So I really appreciate that way you explain. Uh, but when you are talking about like you were already quite experienced and or I can say you was already doing a lot of work in mentoring. But when we are talking about your research or case studies work or something which you have done during your research work, uh, if we try to bring out some strong point out of that, uh, what addition, or I can say what some more quality or something you got out of that, which you feel like confident that yes, I got this plus in me. Uh,
mm.
just we all know we have a lot of coaches and mentor, but having PhD and just what way you validate, or maybe you feel like no, it is nothing like something like that.
Um,
Mm.
well, as I said, the PhD itself is just a more of a self pride and legitimacy and feeling confidence that,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
I could do it and I know my thing, I know
Yeah.
my subject. And
Yeah.
it does give me more confidence, you know.
Mm.
And I'm not saying, hey, hello, I've got the PhD, please give me the room, because I
Mhm.
don't think that will sound very nice.
Mhm.
It's more about when I speak about this subject, I
Mhm.
have in the back of my mind the grounded knowledge that I know things. I can say it with confidence, you know, because I have done no research. I can believe in what I say, and I know that. So that's the one key learning about doing that.
Mhm.
And when I talk about mentoring, because I think it's important also to, especially for women, and I know that your audience will probably appreciate that, but mentoring is really the key for helping others. You know, helping women, you know, grow by sharing your experience. What we're doing here today, for example,
Yeah.
could be considered mentoring,
Yeah.
just because sharing our stories, sharing our experience,
Yeah.
you know, and then the people who will listen, maybe drawing some wisdom from that
Yeah.
for themselves that they can apply or use. And I think that's very important. That's a very important part of mentoring, sharing experience and stories. Of course, then there's the mentoring, which is more the one-to-one relationship and helping each other, and that's very precious as well, and it's very different from just listening to someone talk. But you know, it is important. A lot about mentoring is about sharing stories,
Mhm.
and I've learned from mentoring, from researching it, from being a mentor, from being mentored by someone.
Mhm.
Right now, I have a book mentor, for example, and you know her, it's Mom Yvonne, and she's helping me in a way um, go through that process of writing my book, which is a different kind of book that I've ever written before. Before, I used to write a lot about more, not academic style, but yeah, kind of sharing knowledge in a very academic way. And I'm telling
Mhm.
you what I know, and, you know, and this and this
Mhm.
and that. And I thought about it very hard. It's very structured, very organized, very academic in a way.
Mhm.
But she's helping me now write a book that's more about my story.
Mhm.
And yes, it's about what I've learned, but I'm not sharing it in a way that would be condescending, like, you know, I've learned this and you know, apply this, you know, I've got it all figured out, you know, you should do this.
Yeah,
And
exactly. I can maybe if I get opportunity to reframe it, I can say like getting more from academia or academic environment rather than bringing it to everyone or
yes,
serving to everyone's purpose, including ourselves. Because at the end, if we keep ourselves side of these academia and so-called these titles and all, keep it those aside, we as a human, as you are yourself as a mentor and teach, we all need such kind of you know resources as a book or as few writings to read and to uh, connect ourselves, if I'm understanding correctly.
yeah, exactly. And in a way, you're the first I actually publicly share about me writing the book. So
I am really excited to see that it's going to get published, and maybe if things goes, in the same way, and everything go allow us, maybe we will bring you back on the same platform to share your book. Yeah.
that would be lovely. That would be lovely. But anyway, so for now, I'm still writing it. I'm nearly finished on the first manuscript, but it's still in progress. But what I wanted to say about it is that basically when I was training people, you know, I do help organizations to transform their culture, and
Yeah.
obviously the culture is depending on people. So actually, you train people to open up their mindset, to have different ways of looking at maybe relationships at work, etc., etc. So during these trainings, I used to do trainings about conflict, about emotions, about leadership, you know, all that kind of training. And during this training, I always used to share stories. So there was the concept, there was the model, the exercise, so all the training thing. But with that, I always would share, and often a personal story to illustrate and I realized after sharing these stories that often they remembered more the story than the concept. And often that these stories even shared during the break, for example, so not in the official training moment, but in the interaction with my participants, I would share these small anecdotes and stories that they would have really much more impact than the concept themselves. And that people were like, oh, now I get it, or, you know, that's really resonates with me. And I thought, okay, so maybe let's try when I write the book, not to do any of the academic concept models and things, and just share the stories. So that's what I've done. So I've got about 27 stories. They're short stories, and then they're not big, long stories. Now, I don't know if at the final edit, all of this will still be in the book, but so far I've got 27 stories. And I'm not trying to sell anything or to say this is the way. I'm just sharing it with my heart and saying, this is how I've lived that experience. This is what I've learned from it, or what I understood from it. And I end up with a few questions, you know, in a way, how does it resonate with you? Or have you thought about this in that way? Or, you know, kind of encouraging the reader to reflect for themselves and see how this story not applies to them, but resonates or triggers something for them that could be valuable.
Right.
So that's where I'm at with that. And it's all part of mentoring for me. It's all a part of that relationship with the other person where you share who you are. Maybe they will learn something from it, maybe not, but you know, you're creating opportunities and creating space and moments where people can grow.
No, exactly. I can, if I say myself, like, definitely stories are powerful tool when you are bringing concept rather than in the academic terms, because I use myself with my children, with every time in day-to-day life, for myself and for others, bringing stories, bringing some sort of way, trying to, so that bring their interest, that bring their attention. And even if I see myself, if I'm reading something, definitely it makes me connect, it makes me get into more and more, and it keeps your interest bind to continue. And it doesn't make you to get like you are reading, but you are not really getting into the concept. So definitely it is a powerful tool, as you are explaining. So as you do a lot of these mentoring and training, and you are part of this Erasmus University Rotterdam School of Management, where you teaches a lot of women leadership program. So any particular observation in women who were part of your program during your teaching career, if you got opportunity to see their changes or something, we would like to connect with the story form here as well.
Yeah. Well, when I joined Erasmus Center for Women and Organization about, I think, 3 years ago, and they already had like a very nice leadership program for women. And it was interesting because we met and we were like really connecting on values and really wanting to help women in organizations. And we were discussing, where do I fit in? What I have, what I know, how does it fit in with the existing program? And I looked at their program and they already had really interesting things about how to negotiate and communication to gain confidence and understanding the power of networks. So they already had like really useful things to kind of navigate the corporate world and try to be more visible and so that they could further their career, break the glass ceilings and all of that. And I thought, what can I add? And I thought, okay, one thing that I don't see in there, which I'm not surprised, because it's a subject that not many corporations actually dare to have on their program, is emotions. You know, how, you know, and not that emotions are specific to women, because, you know, I've heard that before. But I thought, okay, maybe I can help them manage their emotions better, so that the emotion become an ally and not, you know, an enemy in their career. Just because either they have developed masks, so they hide their emotions, but then, you know, they suffer in the end, or they do let their emotions wild, and then it's not good for the image they have in corporations. So either way, working on the emotions was going to be a good, valuable addition to this program. So we did. And I'm really grateful that they really sold that to their clients, because the Erasmus Center for Women in Organization had to then add this module to the leadership program and sell it to the clients, which are corporates. And you know how corporates might be, and, you know, kind of selling them, oh, they're going to work on their emotions, is like, not sure. But they did. And we have like really big clients in the banking sector, in all of these organizations who are going through this program. And every time it's always very beautiful to have their questions, because I come in and I say, hey, this is how emotions work. It's very natural, but let's find a way to, you know, manage it so that you can be with your emotion in a very powerful way and feel empowered by them, and not kind of the victim of all of these turmoil. And you always have the same questions coming back, you know, like, and the same words, like, oh, do I need to control my emotions? And like, no, don't try to control it. This is
Yeah,
too
actually,
rigid.
I was thinking that to coming on the same way when you're talking about like the as a definitely as you are teaching all about, but when it comes to on individual on ourselves, uh, or in general, like our audience and who are listeners are watching and listening this show, what kind of tips or maybe the kind of some kind of learning you can give how one can learn or manage this emotional part, because
Yeah.
as we all are human and we experience in a day each moment a lot of ups and downs and a lot of kind of emotion. At one moment we are very excited, second moment we are normal, like lot of things. So how they can do this in their while balancing their work, their life and all.
Mm. Well, the first key thing is to accept that emotions are a natural process and they can be your friend. And I think if already you have that in mind, I mean, there's still a long journey to dealing with emotion, but at least this is a very first big step that will ease the process of learning how your emotions work and why they are there. And I've done many videos on the subject, so maybe we can link to some videos, and I think that would be super useful, because there's quite a lot of material that I could cover on this subject. But I would say like the big first step is see your emotions are natural, as a natural process, as just messages, you know, that parts of yourself are trying to communicate to you, that you can decide, and that's important, you can decide whether you need to use the information of your emotion or you can move to something else, because sometimes emotions can just be in the way. And but it doesn't mean we want to deny it. It just means, what can I learn from it and what do I want to do with it? And I think if you still believe that your emotions are kind of happening to you, then you need to switch, you know, this mindset to, I am responsible for my emotion, I own them. Then I'll try to see, okay, what can I do with them? Because if the empowerment that comes from owning your emotion can be really, really powerful, because if you channel anger in a speech, then it can be really a powerful speech. But if you let anger do its own thing without you having a say in it, then it can become very violent and destructive.
Mm.
Still,
That's
anger is not
so important
possible.
points when you're bringing it on this topic. And just I would like to, bring that one more point while you are explaining all about in current scenario in, when we are facing, since it's long pandemic, all over the world. Uh, People are anxious, people are stressed, and it's not only you or me, it's all over everywhere, right? So, as you are explaining in a very nice way, that we have to understand and first accept that all the emotions are natural. So when we accept, what the next step we should take to channelize those are anxious, anxiety, and stress and
Mm,
worry, because this news and we all keep feeding us this much number, that much number, this, that, and this is coming in, keep instigating in our mind,
yeah.
whether consciously or subconsciously, keeping us in anxious mode.
Mm.
Mm.
Well,
What will be very, subtle point on this as well,
yeah.
please.
I would say that you can decide what you listen to. That's the first thing.
Yeah,
And when you are feeling anxious, it's okay. Just don't try to beat yourself, say, oh no, and I'm anxious, and add layers of
yeah. So
stress
we
on
need
it.
to, we need to first accept that we are anxious. It is
Yeah,
okay. So
exactly.
that
Okay, I'm
automatically,
feeling anxious because what?
yeah,
Because I am worried about this, about that, but in a way try to be quite not rational, but put it down. Maybe
yeah,
write it down and
yeah,
just say, okay, these are the things that I worry about. And
mm,
then try to see which are out of these, which one can I do something about?
yeah,
What's in my power? Okay, so I'm worried about getting COVID when I go out in the street. Okay, what can I do about it? Okay,
mm,
well, apart from, I don't go out in the street, which might not be the best option either. But okay, am I wearing a mask? Yes. Okay, am I washing my hands? Am I being careful? Am I doing the best I can,
right,
to protect myself from the things that I'm worried about?
right,
Yes. Okay, so then let it go. As long as you are doing all you can, with the power you have today.
yeah.
Obviously, we all have different,
I think that's
parameters of
intelligent way and
influence.
very beautifully you explained, because usually as a human by mind, we know we are getting into this feeling, but we are always in denial mode. You know what I mean? Like, so we it makes us, I think, more worse in situation or
Yeah.
feeling. And so as a human, if we accept and we like the way you said, we list it out and we write it down, what are in my control and what is in not in my control. So it will help us to eliminate the outer side. So it will
Yeah.
keep our mind even more uh, focused and relaxed. That's beautiful strategy. I love that, and I think the audience and listener who are listening this show will definitely get benefit out of this, because this is, I think, in everyone's life, which is ongoing process is
Mm.
going on. Not even in
What-
current scenario, but always, I think.
Yeah. One thing I want to add with fear, because anxiety, it's a form of fear.
Yeah.
With fear, the more you ignore it, the more it works in the background
Mm.
and creates, anxiety and these feelings of uneasy. The more you address it, when I say addresses, is talk to it, listen to it, write it down, look at it really clearly and consciously, and
Mm.
then do something about it. So whatever you can, and let go of the rest,
Mhm.
because your fear just needs to be reassured. Your fear is just alerting you of potential dangers. So that's okay to be scared. There are potential dangers. So
Mm.
again, it's not a bad thing to be scared. It's
Yeah.
just a matter of, okay, am I listening to it? What do I do about it? Do
Mhm.
I make decisions that are informed by my
Mhm.
fear and kind of looking at the risks of different situations?
Yeah.
And then how do I move away and say, okay, so I've listened to the fear, I made decisions, so now fear doesn't need to be here anymore. It has done its job.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't let fear do its job by ignoring the message constantly, it will just carry on
Yeah.
sending you messages, sending you chemicals. The
Right.
fear is sending you chemicals in your body, and then you'll feel bad and you won't know why because you're not listening to the message. And
Yeah.
it's all of these vicious circles that we might get into.
Yeah, that's so important because rather than ignoring, understand your those messages and try to understand what the way and what the process is best way to counter or maybe take appropriate action. That's a beautiful way to explain because it is so important, and I am thankful that we bring this topic on today's show because whenever you hear people have directly indirectly some sort of way they have that feeling, and when we are talking about it I think it is so much helpful for all of us. Thank you, Stephanie, for bringing
Thank
this on. uh, but when we are all are talking about all these things, you are wonderful mentor and leader, and or you do a lot of leadership and there's all kind of coaching and all. Would you like to bring us some inspiring story which we can take away, or maybe we have a lot of key points already like from your this question answer session, but having stories like always I feel like yes, it is going to stick. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe to finish, help other help keep helping other people and other women.
Mm-hmm.
What I found is by offering my time, my help to others, I'm the one receiving back learnings and about myself and the, just like with whether it's about female wave of change and helping other women change the world. um, then I learn from them as well. So, I might be giving of my time, giving of what I know, but
Mm-hmm.
just being in this collective and hearing all the other stories, I'm learning too. So we're kind of growing together. And I think this mindset of, I think it's called paying it forward. So you give first and then maybe you'll receive back in some other way, but it's not a transaction and it's not expected. It's more
Yeah.
that you trust that this is the right thing to do, helping
Mm-hmm.
others.
Yeah.
Obviously, don't help others and sacrifice yourself. And that's not what I'm saying. And I think that's an important, really respect yourself, your time, your well-being first, so that you are already looked after. And then once you feel you're in a good space, just share whatever you can, and I think that's what I want to maybe leave the audience with as a message.
Definitely, that is a very important and very nice message that just keep giving it and without expectation. It's so important because it will come forward in some sort of way. And moreover, it gives you peace of mind when you are doing all these because without expectation, this having all the time transaction mind, and when the at some moment in your life when you are giving some moments or some here and there small even tiny part, it gives you sort of satisfaction being what you are. That's so powerful. Thank you. But before finishing, I just would like to ask just last one thing. Why do you think the platform like Women Dialogue is so important and needed?
Well, I think from everything we've been sharing so far, and even my last message about helping other women, giving this platform to women to share stories and inspire others, I mean, that's how we change the world. Because I don't know, in what I've shared today with you, I have no idea what small portion or word I used or story I shared will have an impact maybe to one person and change their lives or help them go through something or give them a tip that really is useful. Maybe it's one person, maybe it's 10, maybe it's thousands. I have no idea. But at least here in this platform, it's creating an opportunity for that. So for that, I am really grateful because we need people like you to allow us, me, others, to share. So thank you very much,
Thank
Shashi.
you. Thank you. I'm so joyful and so grateful. It is such a great moment Such a great and lovely experience by hearing you, lot of wisdom, knowledge, and learning, and going along with this on today's journey. It was such a wonderful experience. Thank you, Stephanie. Thanks a lot
Thank you,
once again.
Shashi.
Thank you. And just I would like to pay my thanks and regards to my all viewers. And if you would like to hear more women voice and part of Women Dialogues, please connect with us. Please share, subscribe, and like. And thank you. See you in the next episode. And don't forget to check Stephanie's work. Her details are available in the description below as well. And see you next time. Take care. Bye bye.